The reason how I got sentenced to MFDS because I had missed 1 day of anger management, and she revocated me 90 days to MFDS. I had 40-some rules on my paper, and I didn't even understand none of them. Well, I got 40-some rules, and I only had to go for anger management. Any rule you break, you going back. If you got a cell phone, you going back. If you be with another person, they're a felony, you going back.
The Wisconsin Department of Corrections forced me to spend 6 months in Milwaukee Secure Detention Facility for allegedly violating a rule of supervision that did not involve a new crime. I was on probation at the time. I was diagnosed with paranoid schizophrenia when I was in prison. It was a very stressful experience for me when I was not able to find employment. Milwaukee police officers arrested me for disorderly conduct while I was experiencing symptoms of my disabling mental condition. When I was at court, the judge, the prosecutor, and the public defender all agreed that my behavior did not fit with the definition of disorderly conduct. The judge dismissed the case, but I did not get to go home. My probation agent in Milwaukee, who had no specialized training in mental health issues, moved forward with the revocation process. My agent forced me to spend 6 months in MSDF while I fought the revocation. Even though the charge was dismissed, I still had to go there because of the discretion of my agent.
Whenever they feel like pulling the rug from under your feet, so to speak, you could go in there if the agent have a bad attitude. You don't even have to commit a crime or a violation, a rule violation. If they have a nasty attitude, they have some issue that they dealing with at home that they brought to work with them, then you can end up, in a situation where you're incarcerated just on the strength of that.
Inside MSDF, there's no sunlight. Most prisoners are kept in their cells 20 to 23 hours a day. A lot of the people that are in there are in overcrowded conditions where a cell that's meant to have 2 people in it sometimes has 3 people in it. There's absolutely no outdoor rec yard. When you're in your cell, you can't see outside. MSDF is a box, it's a building inside of a building, really, is what MSDF is. There's the windows that are on the outside of the building do not look outside for any of the people that are incarcerated there. I think the experience most people get from being at MSDF is it's just a means of breaking people, is really what it is. It's either going to break you mentally because of the conditions in there, or it could even break you physically, technically, because you're in a cell with 3 people. That's asking for problems right there when you're keeping them in there for 20 to 23 hours. There's an inability for people to have outdoor recreation, so that's not healthy either for them physically and mentally. There's just a lot wrong there, and honestly, if it's supposed to be rehabilitating people, it's not. It's exacerbating any problems that might exist with that person, and then you're releasing them back out with more problems than they probably came in there with.
MSDF, horrible, because no sunlight. It's just you in a building inside a building. You had a one-man cell, a cell that's created to fit one man, but they have a bunk bed in there, so you got 2 men, sometimes 3 men in there because they're bringing a boat to put an extra person in. You got a person that's sleeping by a toilet, so you have to walk on eggshells to get to the toilet, or ask the person to can they stand up while you use the toilet. So it's like just crowded in there in that one-man cell with 3 people fitting in there. No contact visits, so you ain't seeing your family, and if you see them, it's on the screen, and it's like a video screen, so you're not really having the positive reinforcement or the interaction that you should be having, in a place that's considered a medium minimum. Because even in maxes, you get to get outside and get some fresh air, and you get contact visits. So it's supposed to be a medium minimum, but it's a super max right here in the city of Milwaukee. So and it was originally built to house people only for 90 days. But they have strategically turned it into a penitentiary. So now people are doing 2 years, 3 years, 5 years in a place that was even structured. The building was structured for only you spending 90 days in there. So anything past that is extreme, and it's cruel and unusual punishment. It's pretty much torture.
It was one of the worst experiences of my life. Being in MSDF was a very traumatic and stressful experience for me. I was locked down in a cell 20 to 23 hours a day. When I first got there, I was forced to sleep on the floor because of the overcrowding in the system. One man in my unit attempted to commit suicide. Several other men severely mutilated themselves, and several other men had to be put under suicide watch after they became suicidal. Many people were there just for minor infractions of minor rule violations that did not involve new crimes. I never had an opportunity to have any in-person visits. I never could see outside or go outside. It was very depressing because I was stuck in a cell. There's no programming in that unit available.
It's like they're in a volcano, and you ain't got nowhere to go, and it make you feel like you back in the darkness. When's the light gonna come? That's how it's feeling. It's like, it make you feel like you're very lost.
It tears communities apart because you don't have both parents there to, to nurture the kids that's in the community that need, both of these parents to, to effectively, become an adult themselves. As a whole, when you snatch these people out of the community, you just tear the communities apart. And, MSDF is a place that they specialize in that.
But because of the revocation, I lost my job, I lost my scholarship, I lost my housing. My parents, fortunately, had family in the area who could come and get my belongings. Some people might not even have that, can lose all their belongings, all the possessions they have within the house or apartment. So overall, very difficult and traumatic experience.
It affected me because it left me homeless. I didn't have nowhere to go. I was fortunate that I had a godmother in the church to stand by me, to help me, because it had me depressed. It had wanted me to take my life away. It made me feel like I was not human, and it felt like there was no love there. And the depression had came over, like, what I'm living for, and I couldn't have nowhere to live. It make you feel like you on a shell, like you scared to move forward, or it make you have to look behind your back both ways, and you have to stay on steady ground.
Well, I went from being a college student at MATC doing a human service associate to become an alcohol and drug abuse counselor, and to being placed in MSDF for minor violations, and then losing employment, losing housing, losing just pain and suffering, loss of wages, relationships, are damaged, so just that kind of thing happens when you in and out of there.
The only way I see anything getting better is them completely closing that facility. I also think changing the policy and the way that we do revocations and revocation hearings would be another way of preventing a lot of people from even going in there. And I honestly think that we shouldn't just be putting people in there on allegations. We should let all the proceedings on investigating people happen while they're still in the community instead of when they go and put them in, because it's really a lack of due process, since they're not going back in front of their sentencing judge. They're not going back in front of a jury of their peers. It's literally just their probation officer supervisor, and an administrative law judge that are largely making the decision on whether they're revocated or not. The more people that come out and say something, the more likely there's something that'll be done about it.
Get out here and stand up and fight for justice, and let voices be heard. And let's walk and say it's enough is enough. It's time to wake up and come and step forward and stop holding back. Don't be afraid of nothing and fight for justice. I just want to keep fighting for justice and let them know that being in prison, they not alone. We fight for justice for them. It takes time, but we can't do it overnight in a day. But we're going to keep fighting for justice.
MSDF is a torture chamber. People should never be incarcerated in inhumane conditions like that for violating rules of supervision that do not involve new crimes. We found Wisdom did a health impact assessment. Expo and Wisdom partnered with a group called Human Impact Partners in Oakland to do a health impact assessment about the consequences of excessive revocations in Wisconsin. And we found that incarcerating people for technical violations is in fact not making communities safer. It's putting communities at higher risk because incarcerating people for technical violations, for crimeless revocations, for minor rule violations is creating instability in individuals' lives. It's disrupting families, it's disrupting entire communities. It's important to get involved to raise awareness of what's going on in MSDF. We know that no other city in the country has a high-rise prison just to incarcerate people who have not been convicted or charged with new crimes. MSDF is a unique institution. The conditions in MSDF are cruel and unusual. We're seeing change all over this country. The red and blue states throughout the United States have reduced incarceration rates and reduced crime rates at the same time. We know it's possible to reduce incarceration rates and crime rates at the same time. Change is definitely possible. And we know that local and state organizing can make a difference. There's strength in numbers. We know that Expo is all about building power and Wisdom is about building powerful organizations, and we need people to get involved. We need as many people. There's definitely strength in numbers, and the more people get involved, in organizing, the more change that we can make. So it's very important to get involved.
Well, if the people that originally paid their taxes to finance that building knew about all the atrocities that's going on in there, all the deaths, where inmates are being killed, in there, I believe that they would, want a refund on their money. They saying that, they want to help the community and keep the community safer, but I'm here to tell you the communities ain't becoming no safer, and they won't be any safer when you allow people to come out of the prison system angry, and pissed off because they been in there being treated any kind of way, and then come out here and expecting a second chance. We could change this as a united front, as a coalition. We can all work together to actually really change and really see our communities become the safe communities that we desire them to become or desire them to be.